This conference will now be recorded.
Are we there? Anybody hear me?
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Mayor Marchand, City of Livermore.
Today.
This is my first time on
it's
a GoTo meeting. Usually I'm on Zoom.
Yeah.
Had to download the app. All right, good. I'm not late.
Good morning. I'd like to call the RCC, San Joaquin RCC, excuse me, meeting to order. Yes, good morning. Sorry, everybody. August 7th. Let us please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Commissioners, Haggerty?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. Marchand?
Here.
Thank you. Keene?
Present.
Thank you. I believe Commissioner Elliott will not be joining us. Commissioner Young?
Present.
Thank you. I believe Commissioner Moorhead will not be joining us. Vice Chair Zuber?
Present.
And Chair Fugazi is here. Okay, ex officios. Are there any ex officios on the call? Let me just go through. Anyone from Caltrans? Anyone from SJCOG? How about San Joaquin RTD?
Kimberly Gale, here for San Joaquin RTD.
Good morning, Kimberly.
Good morning.
And Stan Cole? Mr. Zalaki, are you with us this morning? Okay, thank you. Okay, so public comments. Do we have anybody that submitted comments for today?
We do not have anybody that submitted public comments just yet, but just a friendly reminder, if you do want to submit a public comment, please do so by sending it to publiccomments@sjrrc@acerel.com. Please keep the comments to 2 minutes or 240 words. And just a friendly reminder for the folks on the phone to please keep your phone on mute unless you are speaking. Thank you.
Okay, hopefully everybody had an opportunity to review the consent calendar.
I'll move the consent calendar, Mayor Marchand.
Yes, thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, wonderful. Second by Commissioner Young. Roll call. Commissioners, Haggerty?
Yes.
Thank you. Marchand?
Yes.
Thank you. Keene?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Zuber?
Yes.
Thank you. Chair Fugazi? Yes. Okay, we have an update on ACE COVID-19 containment efforts from Mr. Schmidt.
Good morning, everyone. I'm glad everyone's here and healthy. Next slide, please. So this is just an overview with the state and the counties on our corridor, Alameda, Santa Clara, and San Joaquin. We do have 3 separate county ordinances or social distancing protocols that we follow, along with that of the state. So staff follows that very closely with our top priority of health and safety of our onboard personnel and passengers. Next slide. So on the ACE website, we do have quite a bit of information, as you can see, the disinfection of all the trains, the signage on the trains, employee protection, hand sanitizers that are available to all onboard passengers. Next slide. We do have face coverings. All ACE staff and travelers are required to wear face masks while at stations, on platforms, and aboard the trains. Also, we are providing individually wrapped face coverings for those individuals that board the train without face coverings. They should choose to use them if they don't have any issues with that. Then also social distancing of our passengers. We're also ensuring that they do keep the 6 feet required within stations and platforms and aboard the trains. Next slide. So this is just a safety video that we've got that was developed.
We are too. We look forward to once again being a part of your commute. We're taking extra precautions on our trains and at our stations to ensure traveling is as safe as possible. We're ready when you're ready, because you're our #1 priority.
Nice.
And all that information on those previous slides is on the ACE website under the ACE COVID on that web page. So just to update on what we are doing on the rail cars. For the HVAC filters, we have increased the minimum efficiency reporting value to allow capture of smaller particles. The social distancing notices are posted on all rail cars. Like I mentioned previously, we do have individually wrapped face coverings for those passengers who don't have a covering. We've, about 3 weeks ago, I believe it is, have installed 2 touchless hand sanitizers per rail car. And there's also 1 antibacterial wipe on all the rail cars, so passengers can wipe down their tables when they board the train or when they leave. And also the onboard personnel wear face coverings while on the train at all stations. Next slide. On the station platforms, currently we have hand washing stations deployed at the unmanned San Joaquin stations, Lathrop, Manteca, and Tracy, and we are continuing to work diligently to find hand washing stations for those stations in Alameda County. That has been a little bit of a challenge because everyone is out of those at the moment, but we are on the list for a number of different companies to get those hand washing stations so we can deploy them as soon as possible. Also, there's hand sanitizers available at the Stockton Cabral station, and all social distancing notices are posted at all our stations and platforms. And then staff are wearing face coverings when interacting with public and other staff. Next slide. So what we're doing here in our administrative offices and here at the rail maintenance facility. All staff complete a self-certification health screening on a daily basis when they come to work, which includes a temperature check. Social distancing is, notices are posted at Cabral Station as well as at the maintenance facility. We have a maximum, which basically is worst case, and I haven't seen this yet, of that many of 25%. But a maximum of 25% of the administrative staff can report to Cabral on a daily basis. It has never been that high as a percentage, so everyone that's not coming into Cabral have been working from home and continue to work from home. We do have personal hand sanitizers and bacterial wipes available to all staff throughout the buildings. And all doors, door handles, and high-touch areas at the Cabral Station are disinfected by staff after every train, and door handles at the RMF are disinfected daily. Additionally, staff wipe down tables if we do have any in-person meetings, so everything is wiped down after meetings, and all staff wear face coverings while at work. And I would be happy to answer any questions anyone may have on the response to what we're doing to COVID-19.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from any of the commissioners?
I have one question. Brian, as far as passengers and that sort of thing, are we generally having good cooperation with the rules? No problems with people basically refusing?
We are, passengers are pretty good. We do have some folks that do not come on with face coverings, and we are providing them to them, but we are not, because there's so many reasons that in the governor's orders not to wear them for health reasons. If someone does not have one, we're not enforcing it because we don't know what they may have as an issue. So, but we are, most people have been very good about wearing them.
Okay, thanks.
Any questions from the public?
No questions from the public at this time.
Okay, well, thank you for that information. There's no action required on that item. So we will move on then to item 5. It's a resolution approving amendments with Edgeworth Irrigation to increase their compensation by $131,159.
So just to give a brief overview, back in May, the Rail Commission approved an agreement with Edgeworth Integration for the ACE Security Camera project, which involves upgrading all of the current camera and license plate reader equipment located at the Rail Maintenance Facility, Cabral, Lathrop Manteca, Tracy, Vasco, Livermore, and the Pleasanton stations. As implementation work began on the project, it was quickly discovered that the current camera system's power supply structure was insufficient with the latest camera technology that is being deployed. The additional need of upgraded media converters that supply double the voltage of the current media converters in use was identified as essential to implement this project. These media converters power the cameras through Ethernet cabling and is the most efficient method to supply enough power to the new cameras. The additional costs include the additional labor associated with the installation of the new equipment and the cost of equipment. Staff is requesting an approval of Amendment 1 to increase the current agreement budget by $131,159 for a total new not to exceed amount of $451,120. Project costs for the current fiscal year are identified in the 2020-21 work program and budget. Funding for the security camera equipment comes from the Public Transportation Modernization, Improvement, and Service Enhancement Account, otherwise known as PTMECIA. And with that, I am happy to take any questions, and we ask for your approval on this item.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions? Any questions or, oh, go ahead.
Okay, got a motion?
I simply moved approval. Marchand here.
Oh, okay. I know, but I was going to ask if there were, thank you. Were there any questions or comments from the public on this item?
None that I see at this time.
Okay, wonderful. So we have a motion and a second, a roll call vote.
Who's the second?
Haggerty?
Commissioners, Haggerty,
Aye.
Marchand,
Aye.
Keen,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Zuber,
Yes.
Chair Fugazi? Yes. Okay, moving on to item 6, a resolution approving to increase the contract amount with ACOM Technical Services in the amount of $608,436.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning. Next slide, please. In May of 2019, the board authorized Executive Director to negotiate and enter into quite a few contracts based on a large RFP we did for Valley Rail. For this location, the amount for the Lathrop Transfer Station was $2,414,600 to prepare final design, PS&E to develop the plans. As we moved through those contract awards, as there was a number of them, we were continually working with Union Pacific on the track connections to the stations. And as we went through that analysis, we realized that some of the limits of the track leading up to those stations needed to be lengthened to be included into the design to ensure that the plans are being developed in a logical segment, and also so they can be reviewed by Union Pacific as full design packages with those segments, and then ultimately getting into construction contracts that could be bid and awarded based on a logical segment within the corridor. Next slide, please. So for this request, similar to other requests we've been doing last couple months for some of those other stations I just mentioned, we'd like to increase the project limits or post-mile limits of the track approximately 2 miles for the North Lathrop transfer station. I worked with AECOM, staff worked with AECOM to develop an estimate. The estimate to include that track work is $608,436. And we'd revise that contract because we didn't actually enter into this contract. So we're revising the amount for a new not to exceed $3,022,036. Next slide, please. And this is a visual of the track work being added to the station. Up at the top, you'll see in light blue is the new platform. It's a center loaded platform. And then to the right of that is the parking lot. And it's in the south west corner of what is the Sharp Army Depot. Coming down, that red line that sweeps goes into the Fresno subdivision, going towards the Lathrop Y to the right, which is that triangular dirt area that's just above where it says Project South End. And we continue that track down as a double track section. And we have another contract with HJR that's coming up and meeting that, and that there's some overlap there. And we need to make sure that connection is seamless so that there's no inconsistency with the design plans. Next slide, please. The funding for the design work as anticipated in this fiscal year and approved in the Rail Commission budget under capital project sections. The funding for work in the following fiscal year will be incorporated into subsequent capital budget. Project is funded through SB 132 and the TRCP grant programs. Staff is requesting to approve a contract increase of $608,436 with AECOM to complete the final design for the North Lathrop transfer station for a new not to exceed of $3,023,036, and authorize the executive director to execute any and all documents related to the project. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Sheridan. Any questions from the commission? Any questions from the public? Okay, so we have no questions. Commission?
Regular voting.
Yes, so regular voting members on this. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve. Zuber?
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair.
A second.
Second by Young. Roll call.
Commissioners Keen,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Zuber,
Yes.
Chair Fugazi.
Yes. Okay, motion approved. Moving on then to commissioners' comments. Would anybody from the commission like to speak? I would. I know I was looking at ridership versus fare revenue, and I noticed that our ridership in May was almost 8,000, and then June a little over 12,000, and I'm hoping that July was better still. I know we're nowhere near where we were last year at this time, which is to be expected. But I guess I was probably surprised why May there was more fare revenue than June, even though we had more ridership in June. Just a question I might have had.
This is Brian. A lot of the times when people buy their tickets, their monthly pass or 20 trip, they'll buy it in the prior month. So they'll buy it in May for the month of June. So that could be a reason why it was higher. The ridership, because that revenue will go to that month, which it was purchased.
Okay,
and also
great.
to answer, for your question on July was over 13,000 riders.
Okay, so not as quite of a jump from May to June, but still moving in the right direction.
Yes.
Okay, Thank you. Any other commissioners? No. Okay, ex officios.
Chair,
Yes.
this is Andy Chesley.
Go ahead, Mr. Chesley.
I had a couple of items. The first is that we just received the new State Transit Assistance Fund estimates from the state of California, and we are having to revise downwards to reflect the state budget. As a matter of fact, the impact on San Joaquin County is a little greater than on the average county in California. So we are anticipating a 42% reduction in state transit assistance funds, and that will be reflected in our apportionments as we revise that this month going through our board, and that will have an impact on the Rail Commission. Also on the local transportation fund, the TDA funding, that is the main component of what transit systems get. We still don't have a really good picture about last year because the state of California, for some reason or other, in their last allocation, gave us 45 days worth of funding as opposed to 30 days. And they will probably reconcile that here this month. So on August 21st, we'll have a better idea about what the picture really is for LTF funding in the previous year. I would not be surprised if overall we have something on the order of about a 15% reduction. And then going into this next fiscal year, we expect a sizable increase over that in terms of reduction of local transportation fund revenue, once again impacting the Rail Commission. The Stockton Grade Separation Project, the TSIP application that was submitted on behalf of the Rail Commission by the state of California. I'm pleased to say that the three Northern California mega region MPOs, MTC, SACOG, and San Joaquin COG all signed on to a letter supporting that particular project, as well as a number of other projects throughout the three MPO regions. And the 8 MPOs in the San Joaquin Valley also signed a letter supporting it, along with several other projects. But there's a wide unanimity around support for that Stockton Grade Separation Project. And lastly, I wanted you to know we're working with the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, the Alameda County Transportation Commission, your staff at the Rail Commission, which has been very good about raising a concern around this, trying to sync up the regional transportation plan improvements around both Valley Link and the ACE system between the MTC region and the San Joaquin region. Right now, in the preliminary work from MTC, there is a bit of a disconnect. We'd like to sync that up. We had a very good meeting with MTC staff, I believe it was last week, if I remember correctly. And we're going to follow that up with work with VTA and ACTC staff, and then going back to MTC as well. But I'm hopeful that we'll be able to figure out a way to sync up the investment strategies at the county line between Alameda and San Joaquin County, between MTC and ourselves in our regional transportation plans. And that concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Andy. Any other ex officios?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
This is Supervisor Haggerty to Mr. Chesley. You know, we worked pretty hard to get that in program 1 at MTC, which means that it pretty much gets a hunting license almost immediately. I just want to make sure that you're not doing anything to slow it down.
No, Mr. Supervisor Haggerty. As a matter of fact, we are looking to try and speed it up, in fact.
That's what I like to hear. Thank you.
Okay, ex officios.
Kimberly Gale, RTD.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Similar to ACE, we are doing our diligence in providing increased sanitation and clean. We are planning to expand some of our services back as of August 15th. We are doing a campaign and workshop and outreach to educate our passengers and riders. We have a workshop on Wednesday, and we plan to do more outreach to the social service community next week on the 12th. At this time, we are
Kimberly,
Yes.
we're getting a lot of feedback. Can you maybe go off speaker if you're on speaker and do direct mic?
Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay, good. No, we'd want to hear what you have to say, but it was really tough.
Is that better?
Not really. Gosh, I'm not sure what's wrong with the connection. Maybe talk
Okay.
a little slower so we can capture it.
Okay, I apologize. Primarily, I wanted to make the point that we are following similar protocols as ACE in our sanitation and cleaning efforts, also providing lights and masks to our passengers. Our service is going to ramp up a little bit as of August 16th, and we're going to try to bring our BRT bus rapid system primarily back to the operation that we had pre-COVID. However, we are making significant changes. We had an outreach workshop on Wednesday. It's available online, Facebook, as well as our website. We plan to do continued outreach to let our passengers and patrons know about these changes. Thank you.
Thank you, Kimberly. Anybody from Caltrans or StanCog?
This is
Hi,
Rosa.
oh, go ahead, Rosa.
Thank you, Tom. This is just Park on behalf of Bill Zalaki. He just, there are no comments on our end. Thank you.
Thank you. Caltrans.
Just a quick note, we have a new director at Caltrans. Dan McElhaney left in July, and Dennis Agar is now back as our acting district director. Hopefully will become permanent.
Okay.
But right now, we're all keeping our fingers crossed that that works out well for us. I want to say congratulations to San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission. Sorry I was a little late to the meeting. You might have already announced it, but you received Caltrans approved a LC Top Low Carbon Transit Operations Program funds for the rail for $534,000 for your discount ticketing program for ACE. And just wanted to give you a pat on the back and congratulations on that. And just a little trivia that folks may not know. We started a project up in Oroville off of Highway 162. So if you're ever up that way and you see a new section of road, you'll see that it's paved with new pavement, and it's actually made with 100% recycled plastic. They're using plastic bottles and that sort of thing. So the department's trying out a new material, and hopefully it'll work out and it'll give us a new use for all these plastic bottles that are on the side of the road. Maybe we can make a road out of it.
Wonderful.
But other than that, I want to tell everybody stay healthy and safe, and wish you well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, moving on to our executive director's report.
I was going to mention the RTP issue, but thank you to Andy and Supervisor Haggerty for bringing that up. So my second and last item is just to note that the Chair Fugazi and San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority Chair Vito Chiesa, we had a meeting with the High Speed Rail Authority to begin the initial negotiations for an MOU that would potentially allow an interim service on the new line between Bakersfield and Merced to be coordinated with the San Joaquins and with ACE. And those discussions will likely carry on throughout the next 6 months to get an initial MOU in the gate, and then likely carry on for the next 10 years as we proceed and follow the high-speed rail implementation. But this consolidates services in the valley so that we don't have anything sort of dangling out there on its own. I think it's following the same vein as the consolidation efforts, at least between the Joint Powers Authority and the Rail Commission, where we let someone take the lead where they have the strengths and the other agency supports. And on the capital side, the Rail Commission has been the lead, and that has worked out very well, just given the nature of the JPA board. In this case, the JPA board has most of the involved counties, and so for the JPA to take the lead on this, I think makes sense, but we will both be at the table as all these discussions go forward. So I'll keep reporting out on that as we have progress. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
At this time, we will be breaking for a closed session. Commissioners, you received instructions from Sarah in order to participate in that. So we will be hanging up on this call, and you will be dialing in to the new number. Did everybody receive that message?
I got it.
Okay, wonderful. So we will disconnect here and then call in on the new number, okay?
If I may, Madam Chair, for the members of the public who are on this call, they can remain on this call until the commission returns from closed session to make its report and then adjourn the meeting. So the commission at this time will be adjourning in closed session regarding action item 10.
Wonderful, thank you.
Commissioner
And
Keenan.
we're back.
I'm back on. Anybody
I'm
else?
here.
I'm here.
Or Sean's here.
Nancy's here.
Zuber's here.
Okay. Commissioner Haggerty, are you on the call? Commissioner Marchand?
Yes, I am.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
Commissioner Keen?
I'm here.
Commissioner Haggerty? Okay, so we have come back from closed session. Do we have anything to report out?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The commission has returned from closed session regarding action item 10. All the commissioners were present during the entirety of the closed session with the exception of Commissioners Elliott and Moorhead, who are both absent. There's no reportable action at this time. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, with that being said, it's 8:38. Adjourning this meeting until September 4th at 8 a.m. See you all then. Or, well, I'd like to. But...
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
Great rest of the
you.
summer.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.